You say it's 2003 right now in crypto world, right? In terms of internet years. But like the 2003 was sort of the era where, the internet became not just for nerds and geeks. It just like totally went mainstream. And the way we went mainstream was like killer apps. We had killer apps. And here crypto has been in existence for like 15 years now. And stablecoins have been in existence for a while now. And 150 billion is like respectable. Let's credit where it's due. It's only a sliver. And like the most simple app on the planet feels like Venmo for crypto. I just want to take my stablecoin in a mobile wallet and I want to just send David some USDC. And we don't have Venmo for crypto. Jeremy, where is Venmo for crypto? Where are these apps going to come from in the next 10 years?
Have you tried Coinbase Wallet with Base?
Well, tell me, where is it? Why hasn't it come until now? And like, is that basically what you're predicting?
So, I mean, look, I think general payment utility is definitely like the killer app that we'll see, and I don't just view it as like, this is just about the Venmo, the person to person type component, right? The beauty of this is that this infrastructure works for every dimension in the market. Like there are USDC users that are paying 25 cents for a digital object in a Web3 game, and they can do it because it actually works. And that exact same technology on that exact same blockchain is being used to settle a $200 million trade bilaterally, peer-to-peer, between two large trading counterparties. Like, you're not doing a $100 million transaction with Venmo. You're also, not really doing a 25-cent transaction, right? So you have this like super scalable model, but I think I completely agree with you, right? The interoperable global, direct value exchange is definitely the killer app. And so what's interesting is, and I think what you're seeing is the bottom up build, which is like, the crypto native companies like Coinbase, building, Base and Coinbase Wallet and connecting that together. You see Binance doing similar things across their platform and Trust Wallet and things. But you also see, like these huge aggregators of end users who are basically building Web3 into their infrastructure. So like Grab in Southeast Asia, 200 million users. They're using Circle's Web3 infrastructure stack, our developer platform, to put Web3 natively in the hands of their users. Nubank in Brazil, 90 million users. These are huge, right? These are user bases that are bigger than the biggest crypto companies in many cases, that are building, digital dollars into their apps. Another major Latin American giant, Mercado Libre, doing amazing things by sort of bringing these in. And we're seeing this happen around the world, which is super apps, large scale, like consumer fintech products that already exist are basically building in blockchain infra, and they're building in Web3 clients. And when that starts to happen, that's when you start to connect all these together, right? You start to actually have a world where you have interoperability, right? And it's not just like a new app that someone created, it's actually within apps that are already widely adopted. And so whether you're in Indonesia and you use the dominant e-money app there, or in the Philippines, the dominant e-money app there, or in Japan, these sort of fintech e-money apps that are like the Venmos, right? That are kind of the neobanks, right? They're all moving into crypto infrastructure. Like all of them are moving into crypto infrastructure. And so that's what lights up the kind of global network and global utility layer at an end user level. And then I think, the other side is basically kind of on the institutionalization front, which is, we're in the, as you guys know, like super early days of tokenization, super early days of RWAs. But long been the promise, which is, can you take a existing financial contract and can you represent that in a smart contract and have it, the digital token become the mechanism that you flow value in and out of, that then ultimately becomes an instrument that can be used through all of the kind of composable infrastructure that is DeFi. So that we're at the front edge of that. And, in certain places, laws and regulations are going to help accelerate that. So like MiCA in Europe, which goes effective, June 30th, all of a sudden you're going to see it's like legal to issue these digital tokens, and, lots of different players are going to be able to do it. Stablecoins are going to become the digital cash for how you use those. And so the kind of capital markets, which is a giant category, right? You'll start to see more capital markets use cases moving on chain as well. I'm hopeful though that, the utility of a blockchain is way outside of financial, right? And it's sort of a useful technology for so many other things. And that can be in certainly coordinating and incentivizing different kinds of economic behavior to drive an outcome. And you see this with like DPIN. But it also can be just a very, very powerful way to have provable data, provable transactions. Provable data and provable transactions at scale are useful in a lot of applications, and social's obviously one where that's taking hold. Gaming is another one where that's taking hold. We have a relationship that we talk about, and it is public, with I think the second largest gaming company in Korea called Krafton. They operate one of the largest like massive multiplayer online universes out there as in a traditional game. And they're building something called Overdrive, which is essentially like a kind of Roblox style creator game at scale, entirely blockchain native. And then using like USDC as the in-game, unit of account, right? That's there. And like these kinds of products, are really just coming as well. So, obviously, but even your analogy of 2003, like not a lot of people even had broadband yet. And so it was still really early. Like, YouTube didn't come out until 2004, and it really didn't take off until like 2005, 2006. And, it was years, there were still years before a lot of these things. Facebook didn't exist until 2004. And then it was just on college campuses. It didn't really take off until like, 2008. Where it really opened up and exploded. So there's still some work to do for sure.
As we do these like comparisons to the internet of old, there's always like the ways that it's the same, and again, ways that it's different. I think especially with crypto, like where is the killer app is always like one of the favorite questions that we ask ourselves. But I think like there's really two frontiers that crypto progresses on. There's the frontier of all the financial things that we already do that we know crypto is better at, but we actually still have to compete with this already entrenched, we still have to compete with Venmo. Like, so sure. Why is there no like Venmo for crypto? Oh, because Venmo exists. Like it's actually a good product. And so we have to compete on that front. And then there's like the actual killer app, the net new thing, because like at least Facebook, MySpace, Instagram, Uber, they actually didn't really have too strong of like historical precedents to compete against. There was actually somewhat of a vacuum there. Maybe Uber had to compete with the taxi companies, and that's like crypto competing on Venmo. Like eventually we'll get there. So there's like two frontiers here, right? There's like the pre-existing Web 2 fintech apps that we have to compete with just on our merits. But then there's also the frontier of just like, what are these net new crypto things that like are like friend tech or something like ENS? How do you like delineate between these two lines, Jeremy? How do you think these things are going to go?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I think if you believe in the fundamental tenets of Web3 and read, write, own, and so on and so forth, a huge part of what will make a lot of these apps killer is the way in which people participate in them and build value in them and share ownership in them. And that's a fundamental paradigm shift. It's a huge paradigm shift. And the ability to have participatory platforms, that's not existed before. And so I think we're all waiting for the examples of that to be born in a lot of different categories that are currently run by like centralized platforms. And so I think that is a huge difference. Obviously, one huge barrier to that is consistent treatment of digital commodities and how those digital commodities can be bought and sold and how they're issued and the laws around that, right? Until that's resolved, there's just going to be this challenge, right? So we have that issue in the US. We have to have regulatory clarity. It's not sufficient to just have lawsuits, right? We have to have regulatory clarity. We have to be able to know like who issues a digital commodity, when they issue it, what do you have to disclose? There's like a whole bunch of things that are needed. Other jurisdictions are providing a path for that. And then that needs to work around the world because these are all internet scale, like a digital token that exists as a mechanism for participation, governance, incentives, etc. Like that has to be able to work around the world. And so we have to see that progress. I think that is a real challenge. And obviously, at some level, one could be, very pessimistic about the outlook for that, say in the United States. I'm always an optimist on a lot of different things, but what I see is Congress is getting smarter and smarter. More and more people understand that there are these distinctions between the different types of digital tokens that exist in the world, and other jurisdictions are actually providing that regulatory clarity. And so I think we'll get there. But I think that's necessary, right? Because if economic incentives and economic incentive design and participation in economics becomes a mass scale phenomenon through like decentralized applications and platforms, you need a basis of law around that works at scale. For everyone to be comfortable, like saying, just like everyone got comfortable getting in an Uber with a random stranger, or like letting strangers stay in your house with Airbnb, like there's a comfort that has to come. And I think in financial matters, the way that comfort is not entirely self-policing.
If you enjoyed all of that, then you'll absolutely love the Bankless newsletter. Join over 300,000 fellow readers, all for free. Click below to sign up.